Quote trade launching AI dark pool dexes on the XDC network. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. In today's video, we're going to be going over some XDC breaking fundamentals, covering some updated dark pool levels to be mindful of on Canton. Hopefully you all have enjoyed the recent updates, the accurate level-to-level information that we give via our dark pool software. If you all enjoy these, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the platform. We do appreciate the love and the support. Starting off here, before we get into the weeds of the technical analysis updates on Canton dark pool levels, I want to show you all that more and more individuals and people are starting to pay attention to the institutional data, the institutional adoption, and just dark pool information that is becoming more and more apparent to the average everyday retail investor. Starting off here with this announcement, this is another breaking fundamental that took place in regards to XDC and institutional adoption. Now, I know that we haven't covered a lot of XDC fundamental developments, but it is still a very large portion of my portfolio. So something that I found to be of interest. We had XDC Network deepened its roots in Japan, partnering with NTT Docomo Global, part of the NTT Docomo Group, as an institutional masternode validator on the blockchain consensus layer. The move marks XDC's first validated relationship with the company from a telecommunications group in Japan and comes as regulated institutions across the region move deeper into the blockchain-based settlement and infrastructure. I really like that word infrastructure. This is a huge confirmation as to where this market is headed. And then down here, what I really like about this is it says, and this goes hand in hand with the dark pool info that we're going to get into, a validator is more than a participant. It is a guardian of the network. We are proud to welcome NTT Docomo Global as an XDC masternode, bringing a world-class institutional profile to strengthen the security, decentralization, and resilience of the XDC network. As the industry enters the agentic AI era, trusted blockchain infrastructure will become the foundation for autonomous agents, tokenized assets, digital trade, and machine-to-machine payments. Together, we are building the institutional-grade infrastructure that will power the next generation of AI-driven decentralized finance and global commerce, said the co-founder of XDC Network. So this was really great to see another breaking development during the month of July. Now, shout out to Genfinity for this post here. Quote trade launching AI dark pool dexes on the XDC network. And here in the private CYPRX community, we have and are still the only retail community on the face of the internet that offers accurate institutional dark pool information. And so I love to see things like this because it's just showing that more people are starting to be aware of dark pool and delta information. And in this future that we're headed into, where it's going to be primarily driven by agentic AI institutions, you are going to want access to the most accurate data. And in the future, data will be the new currency. Those who have the best data, who have the best information, will gain the advantage over the rest of the retail crowd. So just reading this real fast, again, shout out to Genfinity for this post. They wrote this piece here. It says, Quote Trade has launched native support for the XDC network, and Circle issued USDC on XDC. The integration lands as XDC crosses $1.1 billion in tokenized real-world assets. Approximately $860 million of that figure sits in credit instruments like trade receivables and corporate bonds. Until now, XDC's institutional users had limited access to private on-chain execution for treasury marketing making activity. Quote Trade fills that gap with dark pool dexes built for humans, bots, and AI agents. So again, just that solidification of dark pools in this space. We come over here. Now let's get into the weeds, the updates on both Canton, dark pools, and XRP to show you guys that here in the private CYPRX community, we have access to the most accurate levels available to retail investors. And we put this information out not only publicly, but to our private community members well in advance, days, if not sometimes weeks in advance, giving you guys accurate institutional level-to-level updates via our software that we've generated over the past 4 years, and you all have direct access to this. So shout out to Hector here. He said in a post from July 19th, the dark pools have changed everything on my dollar cost averaging and trading. You don't have to share this game-changing information, and yet you still do. Appreciate your time, your knowledge, and your kindness. And I said here in response to this, soon, more and more genuine people will realize that CYPRX has created a level-to-level playing field for the average retail investor with our dark pool software. Investors are tired of the Moonboy hopium and hype. People are starting to want real data in real time when it matters most. Glad to have you and many other like you on the team. And so coming over here to this post to show you guys how accurate this information is that we have via our software, I said no changes over the weekend in this post on Canton and XRP dark pools. And looking down here at the date, July 19th, 2026, and we put out the screenshot of the dark pools that our software generated on both Canton and XRP. And I want you guys to pay attention to these levels right here. Right down here, you can see the deltas at the 11,643 and the top of the range of the delta, the 12,358, with a dark pool sitting right above it at the 12,361. Now, the deltas are these kind of box horizontal lines, and then the horizontal lines with just the highlighted green, the 12,361, are the dark pools. So we have both deltas and dark pools that we put out on July 19th, 2026 on Canton. Remember those specific numbers, 11,643. All right. And so I gave you guys a recent update, and I said, if you have been tracking our updates, Canton coin rejected the institutional delta at the 11,643 and is making its way back towards the top of the delta at the 12,358. If we can break above this and turn it into support, it will be very interesting to see how sellers and buyers transact volume at the dark pool at the 12,361. CYPRX continues to provide the most accurate and reliable delta and dark pool information to the average retail investor. Hopefully you all caught some of the good dollar cost averaging positions. So if we head over to the charts, I just want to show you guys how crazy this is. So we put this information out to you all when price was trading above the dark pool at the 12,361. Here you can see July 19th. This is TradingView. You have the little ability over here on X to copy your post and put them on the chart so you can see when your favorite influencers are putting information out to you all. And this is where I said no changes over the weekend to the dark pools and delta levels, where I put out that highlighted level. If we come back over here to the post of the 11,643 delta. And I'm not putting this information out to show you guys like I'm tooting my own horn and saying like we're calling these levels out in advance. No, I'm showing you all that you all, if you want to join the private CYPRX community, have direct access to this information without having to wait for me to put it out for you all publicly on Twitter. And so the reason why I decided to read this post today from Genfinity is to show you guys that dark pools exist and more people are going to start to pay attention to this. And CYPRX is at the forefront of this adoption. We are the only retail community on the face of the internet that provides this accurate access to these levels, literally on the face of the retail space. So we come over here. Now let's give an update. July 19th, when we mentioned there was no changes, look at what Canton's price did. It dropped straight down into the bottom of the delta. Look at the coordinates of this horizontal box. The top of the coordinates come in at the 12,358, the bottom at the 11,653, which are the exact coordinates that we gave you guys days in advance. Today, as of time of recording, is July 26. And look at what Canton's price did. It dropped straight down into the bottom of the delta. Buyers defended the bottom of the buy delta and pushed price straight back up into the 12,361 institutional dark pool, literally trading from level to level. You cannot make this accuracy up. I hope that this is just an awakening for people that are watching CYPRX and what it is that we've created in this community for the average retail investor. You do not want to head into this institutional era of finance where AI and institutions are going to come in at scale. So now let's go over the quick updates. None of the levels have changed since our last update. So what I give you guys publicly on YouTube, I don't know if you've paid attention, but we don't really cover the deltas. Again, if you guys want access to those more specific detailed levels, you come over here and you would come to the monthly access section and you have access to all these institutional deltas and dark pools on pairs like ETH, XDC, XLM, Bitcoin, HBAR, XRP, XLR. And then if there's any pairs that you want to trade or want access to, let's say, for example, you trade gold or silver or stocks or FX pairs, then you can just come up to the general premium chat section or the crypto delta section and just ask our institutional scalper for levels on any trading pair. And you can see members asking for those levels in real time. All right. So again, if you guys want access to that, just head over to cyprxtrading.com and you can tap in with us. Now, let's go over the levels on Canton, especially if you all have been paying attention publicly. Hopefully you all have. Let's talk about the bullish scenario first. So as of right now, we have defended the bottom of the delta at the bottom of that range at the high 11 cent threshold. Right now, what we need to see in order to see buyers overpower the sellers that have just recently defended the dark pool of the 12,361, which we can see. Sellers aggressively broke below the dark pool here. Buyers made a formal attempt to absorb that sell volume. However, sellers defended the dark pool at the 12,361, and trapped buyers became aggressive and pushed price down into a new bearish leg. So right now, if we want to see buyers reclaim this dark pool and regain control of Canton's price, we need to see first a formal attempt of buyers to absorb and break above the previous sell volume that passively defended the dark pool, preferably breaking above this down leg where we created bearish price action that broke the dark pool, breaking above roughly around the 13-cent threshold, then retesting the dark pool at the 12,361, where buyers trap sellers and create a support, and then start to become aggressive or reaccumulate orders at the 12,361, defending it and holding it as support, which then will open the door for a much higher price recovery on Canton's price. So something like this for our first bullish scenario, where we can see a nice good break above the dark pool at the 12,361, buyers turning it into support, defending against any sell volume that comes in, and making a move in an attempt to push price higher. That would be bullish scenario number 1, with targets to the upside of the 13,916 as our next institutional hurdle. Scenario number 2 would obviously, of course, be sellers defending the dark pool at the 12,361, pushing price back down to the base of the bottom of the delta to test the strength of the buyers, buyers defending the bottom of the delta, and pushing price back above the 12,361. Same thing, seeing a break above it, turning it into support, and then making a formal attempt to push price higher. That would be bullish scenario number 2. So right now, these are the 2 bullish scenarios that I'm looking for on Canton's price, with upside targets immediately coming in at the 13,916 as our next institutional hurdle to the upside that we need to see buyers overcome before we expect any higher prices on Canton. Of course, to the upside, if we can break the 13,916, the next institutional hurdle comes in at the 15.6 and the 17.094. And just in case, of course, we do see an excessively bullish move on Canton, here are some sell dark pulls to the upside to be mindful of, coming in at a high of 29 cents, the bottom of the sell dark pull range coming in at a low of 17 cents. So these are areas where we're going to be looking for some profit-taking opportunities, depending on how buyers and sellers transact at these dark pulls to the upside on Canton. Now, obviously, of course, the downside momentum cannot be outweighed. To the downside, our levels have not changed. We'll be looking for further dollar cost average opportunities at roughly around the 11 to 9 cent threshold as our next downside immediate targets on Canton's price in the event of a further risk-off backdrop. Hopefully you all have enjoyed these accurate updates. We'll wrap it up here for the first portion of today's video breakdown. If you all have enjoyed and you've been paying attention to these accurate updates that we give you all via our software, make sure that you do us that favor, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the platform. We do appreciate the love and the support. It is free to do so, and it does help this channel grow. And then, of course, if you all want more further in-depth access to the institutional software that we provide our community members, head over to CYPRXtrading.com, try it out for yourself. You can always test the Discord out for a month, see how accurate the levels are that we provide. With all that in mind, blessings to you guys and gals, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.